Okay, back to CPCTC. So we just did the whole review of how to prove the triangles are congruent, and now we're going to introduce this acronym. All right, CPCTC. Corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. Corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. So the parts, sides, and angles that are corresponding, that match up, they are going to be congruent when you have congruent triangles. All right? In other words, if you get your triangles to be congruent by side, angle, side, or side, 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 or whatever, all right, you can remember when we did that, we only used a few pieces, right? Three parts, three parts, three parts, three parts, and sort of two parts, right? So now the other parts are going to be congruent as well. All right, so corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. But the catch is, can only use CPCTC, right, after you've first proven the triangles are congruent. So as long as you have congruent triangles, then you can start using this CPCTC concept. All right, so let's go into it in a little bit more detail. All right, I'm going to kind of talk about this in terms of your leftover parts. So think about this. If you use side, angle, side to prove this triangle congruent to another triangle, I'm only going to show you one triangle because I don't want to confuse you. So let's say it was triangle ABC, right? And you had AB congruent to its corresponding side, BC congruent to its corresponding side, and this angle here, B, congruent. Well, what's left? So think about it. You just used a side, an angle, and a side, right? So what's left is an angle, a side, and an angle. Really, a pair of angles, a pair of sides, and a pair of angles. So you'd be able to state that AC is now congruent to a pair of, its corresponding side. And you can say that this angle right here, your angle CAB, or just angle A, is congruent to its corresponding angle. And you can also say that angle C for the same concept. So by only having side, angle, side to prove the triangle is congruent to its buddy, it's this other triangle over here, all right? And you're only using a side, an angle, and a side. There are these leftover parts, which in this case are an angle, a side, and an angle. All right, a pair of angles, a pair of sides, and a pair of angles. So that same concept would apply here for all the others. So if you had angle, side, angle, right? So that would be, and I'm putting these wherever I want. Angle, all right, a side, and an angle. All right, well, what would that leave? So that's an angle, a side, and an angle. Well, that would leave a pair of sides, and a pair of angles. So that those other three would be this side, and this angle. So you can state that this side is congruent to its corresponding buddy by CPCTC. And this side is congruent to its corresponding buddy by CPCTC. And this angle is congruent to its corresponding angle, all right, by CPCTC. And that same would apply, all right, for all the others. Side, side, side. Okay, side, side, side. What's left? The angles, the angle, the angle. All right, so any of these three angles you could state are congruent to its corresponding buddy by CPCTC. All right, angle, angle, side. So that's an angle, and not this side because that would be angle, side, angle. One of the other two sides. I just picked that one because that's where my pen was. So angle, angle, and a side. So I got a side, and an angle left. All right, so that gives me, I guess this side, this angle, and this side. And same concept. Now with hip leg, it's a little tricky because remember, you have to have a right triangle. So you know you're dealing with a right angle there. Here's the hypotenuse across from the right angle. And I'll just pick any leg I want. It'll be that one. So that's really, you really have a pair of sides, and you know one of the angles is a right angle, so that's really gone, leaving you with an angle, a side, and an angle. So same concept, just to finish the thought, this side, this angle, this angle. would be able to be proven congruent to its buddy by CPCTC. All right, so that's that. All right, 2 more examples and that's it. Pretty sure you can read this. So we have triangle HEY is congruent to triangle MAN. Hey man. All right. By what? So we got to look at the pictures. All right. It's marked up for us. So you got to look. Take a second. Look at the picture. See if you know which of the 5 ways to prove triangles congruent would apply to these 2 triangles. Well, what do we got? That's a pair of angles, right? And that's another pair of angles, right? And that's a pair of sides, okay? So which is it? I got 2 angles and a side, so it's either angle, side, angle, or angle, angle, side. Which one is it? Is it the side in between the angles? It's not the side in between. That would be here. So this is angle, angle, side. All right, so now that we know that, great. So that's our 3 parts, right? We had side, angle, side, angle, side, angle. Those are our 6 parts of the triangle. So we just got rid of that guy, and that guy, and that guy. So we have an angle, a side, and a side left. So what can I name them? What can I state as the congruence? Well, what's the other angle? All right, we had E and Y. All right, so that's this guy. Angle H would be congruent to the leftover angle here, angle M, by CPCTC. Or the sides, EY. EY, what's the corresponding piece to EY? EY was the side in between the 2 angles that we knew. So here's the side in between the 2 angles that we knew. That's AN. And then the last side, HY, congruent to MN. All right? Same concept. Then we're going to be done. We're going to look at these triangles. What do we got? Well, we got a pair of angles, pair of sides, and you know what? They probably didn't even, pair of angles, pair of sides, and they didn't even need to tell us this. We would have known those angles are congruent by vertical angles, but there's another pair of angles. So we got a pair of angles, pair of angles, pair of sides. Oh, this guy's in the middle, so that's angle, side, angle. All right, so if I have a pair of angles, another pair of angles, and 1 pair of sides, what's left? Oh, well, I got a pair of angles here. Angle T is congruent to angle P. I also have the sides. Oh, look at this. This is kind of like a reflection here. All right, so this side matched up with this angle matched up with this. Here, okay, so that's why these angles matched up, right? We just hit those. So TA and AP, TA and AP. And then that last pair of sides, CT and RP. All right? It's super visual and you got to be able to see it, but once you get some practice in, it's very doable. All right, so I hope that helped. All right, good luck with the next castle assignment. And I got to stress, ask those questions, please. All right.